Biz senin her ihtiyacın olduğunda buradayız. Yarattığın lezzetler için aradığın kalitede, hayatını kolaylaştıracak ve sürdürülebilir malzemelerle bugünün beklentilerini karşılarken de, yarının beklentilerine hazırlanırken de hep mutfağındayız. Profesyonel ve yüksek kalitedeki ürünlerimiz, dünyadaki trendleri takip eden reçetelerimiz, mutfak okullarından çıkacak yeni yetenekler için eğitimlerimizle bugün de yarın da hep seninleyiz. Mutfakta hız kazanmak, yes şef. Trendleri yakalamak, yes şef. Sürdürülebilir bir mutfak yaratmak, yes şef. Mutfak okullarından yeni yetenekler kazanmak, yes şef. Maliyetleri kontrol altına almak, yes şef. Mutfağa dijital çözümler katmak, yes şef. Bir tıkla tüm siparişlerini mutfağına yollamak, yes şef. Unilever Food Solutions. Bugün yanındayız, yarına hazır.
Sponsorumuz Unilever Food Solutions'a çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Şimdi sahneye tutkuyu başarıya, disiplini yaratıcılığa, mutfağı ise özgün bir kimliğe dönüştüren dünyaca ünlü bir ismi davet edeceğim. Uluslararası ilişkiler ve diplomasi eğitiminin ardından yönünü mutfağa çeviren, spor, seyahat ve gastronomi tutkusunu bir araya getirerek kendi yolculuğunu yazan vizyoner bir şef. 3 Michelin yıldızlı Hiša Franko'nun kurucusu, hem olağanüstü bir kadın hem de sürdürülebilir gastronominin öncülerinden yüksek alkışlarınıza davet ediyorum. Şef Anna Ross geliyor. Welcome chef.
I think the video has blocked a little bit, but however, I'm really happy to be here on the stage, and happy birthday, Gastromasa. What else to say? Maybe I would first start with the introduction of my place, which is important when we are going to speak later on about the footprints, which could be footprints or footprints, which is the name of the menu of this year. So Slovenia is not really Balkans anymore. It's a kind of a mixed thing. South of the Slovenia should be belonging to the Balkan Peninsula, while the north is Alpine, Mediterranean, whatever you want. But we have a lot of influence from Ottoman Empire. So if you look at the history, the Turks were coming up, and we have a village in the valley that is called Huda Yuzna, which means a bad lunch. because the Turks came and took young men for Yaniçari. I think you all know this name. And we kept actually a lot of things from your influence. For instance, we say torba, as you say torba, which is a bag, and we say žep, so žep, and you say žep as well. And we all drink still Turkish coffee, for instance. Especially on a countryside, we have jezva, and we are having this culture after lunch, after dinner, to have the coffee that is actually not called Greek coffee, but Turkish coffee. So there is a kind of a connection which looks so far away, but it's only, I would say, 1.5 hour flight away. We are different, but at the end of the day, we have so many similarities. This year, the menu of Hiša Franko is called Footprints, which could be called Footprints. And for the first time in my life, I signed the menu together with my head chef, Yvonne Simon. She's here somewhere in the audience, I cannot see her. When I was thinking, like, when you need to sign a menu, we sometimes chefs forget that we are not the only one who are deciding about what we are doing. There is a team, there is conversation, there is actually behind every successful restaurant, there is an incredible equipe on the back that works for it. So this year, the footprints are signed by 2 chefs, myself and the head chef, and I'm extremely proud of it. Why did we decide for it? First, because if you look at my history, I don't know how many of you have ever listened to my story, but it's extremely different from usual chef stories. I'm self-taught. I never studied gastronomy. I was in a linguistic high school and then wanted to study dance, but got injured, and then I proceeded in studying diplomatic science. I finished it, and then when I finished the university, I actually met my ex-husband, and I'm still running his restaurant, actually. When I started, Hiša Franko has been like, in Italian you say trattoria del paese. It's like, it was a simple place on a countryside. When we took over, and when his father retired, I said, like, we need to give identity to the place. Identity is so important where we're cooking. Like, if you walk through the streets of Ljubljana today, which is the capital of Slovenia, a beautiful city, you actually more or less have pizza, burger, pastas, but you don't have, you miss really the original places where you can feel the identity of a place. So when I started cooking, Hiša Franko had no suppliers that would be around the house. We are so far away. I don't know if the pictures are rolling. I hope they're rolling. But you will see, like, we are surrounded by cows, goats, and and pure countryside. Like at the end of the day, you don't have a place where you can go for a beer or a glass of wine. And so what I needed to make it happen was to create the supply chain. And the supply chain was like so difficult to create because I was surrounded by real farmers. They were never working with restaurants. And and I was new. I was completely self-taught. I never cooked in a restaurant. And so to create the supply chain between a farmer and the restaurant is a thing that is extremely difficult because the farmer, of course, knows how to understand his needs, but he doesn't understand how to satisfy the needs of the chef. So I was knocking on the doors saying like, hey, I know you have blueberries, I know you have lamps, I know you have cottage cheese, I know you have cheeses, I know you have butter. But then the butter came and it was practically blue because it was too old and the lamps were like not in a good shape. And so the fact was that the learning process between me and the farmers is still lasting. It's still going on. It's still in a very intense process. Today, after 20 years of work, 25 years of work, we are having so many suppliers around us that when you have to do the orders, you actually have to do really a lot of calls and ordering particularly lamb, roebuck, herbs, vegetables. We have our herb garden as well. But the faces of the suppliers are those that actually are practically our work. So why footprints and footprints? Because Hiša Franko is living a reality of a very far away place where people are stuck in time. It's not Istanbul, it's not Milano, it's not New York, it's not Paris. We are somehow simply stuck in time. People sometimes don't even understand that their cottages, their cheese, their butter is one of the best ones on the world, and Hiša Franko is the one which needs to represent all those faces. So when we are creating the menus, we are thinking over why would someone from Istanbul fly to Hiša Franko, to Slovenia, and you need to fly through Trieste or through Venice airport, then you have another 1.5 hours to get to the house instead of Barcelona? It's a great question, and it's a great question for majority of us. I don't know how many people from gastronomy are here, because if I come to Istanbul, I want to feel Istanbul. I want to feel spices. I want to feel the market. I want to feel who you are. Who are you? Who is Istanbul? You go to the market and everything smells of that fantastic spices. There is rose water. This is what for me kebab. And I'm not trying to say that we need to cook that in the restaurant, but we need to have a feeling of a place in a restaurant if it is a destination restaurant. So for Hiša Franko, in many years of work, the biggest problem was like, who are we? What is our identity? And what are we taking from the past and leaving for the future? Which impression are we trying to give to the guests? And I'm trying very often to say in the interviews that I'm having, like, what would you like to say to a young person that wants to cook? And then the answer is usually, okay, motivation, discipline, be focused, don't give up, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm great, but today I would rather go and say, be you, be yourself. Try to look around you, try to look around your microcosmos and try to make interpretation of that, and do not copy-paste. Copy-pasting today is like one of the biggest skills of young people. We all have YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and it's so easy to be a great chef today. But what defines a great chef? That's a question for whoever works in gastronomy here. What defines a great chef? Why Hiša Franko got 3 stars? So many people say to me, yeah, because you're a marketing tool. And I'm like, I'm no marketing tool. We work hard. But I think Hiša Franko is in the best phase ever with the menu footprint, because we learned how to take from the past and bring it to the future. And it's not an easy process. It's a process of living hand in hand with the nature. The nature has its cycles. We are not in Paris, Istanbul, or Copenhagen, having markets around. We need to listen to the cycles of the nature on every single day, meaning that when the forager goes to the forest and forages for us, he needs first to understand the cycle of the nature. So the moon goes up, the moon goes down. The mushrooms, yesterday we had 16 varieties of mushrooms, tomorrow we are gonna have no mushrooms. So creativity is important. It means that you have to practically be fast enough to be able to adapt yourself on every single moment to what the nature is giving you. Then, sustainable approach. How much things can we take from the nature? I'm famous to say that the nature is not a supermarket. In a sustainable way of foraging, you cannot take more than 20% of the things from the spot where you are collecting. Otherwise, next day, you're gonna go there and there will be nothing. So, do you understand the footprints? Footprints, we are learning and teaching, and we are leaving the footprints for the future generations, which I believe that is the most sustainable way of thinking. So, we have this situation in majority of the major cities where people are giving their apartments for Airbnb, and the city centers are getting empty. For instance, in Ljubljana, in the capital of Slovenia, you can actually not get the apartment anymore. And when you are walking through the city in November, everything, all lights are down. There is no light anywhere. And then in the apartment where I'm living, and it's a beautiful old house, we are out of 8 apartments, 2 still existing. And you know what is happening? The market is dying. And what is the farmers' market in the cities? That's the heart of the life. Where do we first go when we want to visit a city? We go to see the butcher, we go to see the fisherman, we go to see, even if you don't buy, we are tourists, we are just like walking around and we are like, ooh, wow, that's local. And we go to the farmer's market, we are going to see radishes, we are going to see greens, and we are understanding through the food what is a footprint of the country. Or footprint, take it in whichever way. In Ljubljana today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there is no one on the market, but there is also no people selling anymore. And then we have Friday, which is a little bit more lively, and then Saturday, which the market, because people from outskirts of Ljubljana come inside. So all these are like prints. And when we are talking about sustainability, everybody has this word sustainability as the magic word of today. Do you know what sustainability is? It's a bullshit. Because it's about, did you make the papers? Did you fulfill all the documents that you need, that you say that your restaurant is sustainable? When you go to the industry and you see all the brown packaging and we think we are buying super healthy food, we are not, because somebody just fulfilled the papers. Hiša Franko, I'm not selling my story as the best story on the world, but we never got any sustainability award, actually one. But we are having sustainable uniforms made out of completely natural materials as wood fibers, apple fibers, with natural prints on them. We are extremely into no food waste, meaning, for instance, Pekarna Ana, which is my bakery in Ljubljana, the leftovers of bread are transformed into kvass, then reduced into the drops for the cocktails. We are doing bread chips, which is not just dried bread, but we are like cooking down the old bread and drying it and then frying it and finishing it with spices. We are doing bread miso, bread garum, bread pasta. But we never, I mean, with all these stories, how careful we are. We're having compost around the house. We're having our own trouts. We kill the trouts in a sustainable way. Yes, we use caviar, but Chef Yvonne, I don't know where she is, she actually, we were using a caviar that was called Alpine caviar. No, okay, I shouldn't be saying that. And we went to see the farm, and it was so not sustainable that we just stopped using it. But we found a guy in Bulgaria, Yvonne found him, and he's actually swimming with his fish. So what I'm trying to say is the footprints are those who are remarkably considering what is good for the planet, what is local, what is if I say sustainable, it sounds so cheap, because the word sustainable today is so cheap. But what is good for that tomorrow our children, your children, will understand how to eat, what to eat, and they will have something to eat from the local environment. So what Hiša Franko is doing is like walking and leaving the prints. So with whichever move we are doing, we are making sure that we respect what we get, and we make sure that for tomorrow, the next generation will have the same. And it's not the same, because we are changing the environment and we are changing the culture. So if you eat in Hiša Franko today, you will find, I would say, 95% of local ingredients, and we are showcasing the faces of our farmers, of our suppliers, which are mostly, if you step on the top of the hill, you can see them. But we are careful, but we are changing the structure of it, because we cannot eat in the same way we were eating before. Hiša Franko has extremely international team. We are probably 35 people employed in this moment, out of which 20 different nationalities, and each one of them is living the print, because we are talking, because we are discussing, because each one can say something. Each one can say like, hey, how about, you know, I see this product in a different way. and that's the evolution. So the footprints, the menu of Hiša Franko of 2025 is about that. It's about leaving prints for the future generation. Thank you so much.